Okay, hello viewers, and welcome to this edition of Viewpoints. My name is Kenneth Oguzie, and I'm talking to you live here in Canada. As you know, Viewpoints, this is one of those platforms where we bring in successful people, both businesses and their career, people who are making an impact, people who are members of the African diaspora, people who are also African in the motherland, and of course, persons of African descent who identify with the African spirit of, greatness, resilience, strength, and success. Today, I have with me a special guest. This is someone whom, based on my interactions with her, I really feel so inspired with her story. And I think a lot of us, out there, viewers and the audience, would really get so inspired listening to this, the amazing story from this individual. So I'm really excited. This is one of the fun things I love to do when I bring this sort of speakers, where I can also tap into their wealth of experience, understand their perspectives, and hopefully can inspire the next generation, of Africans or persons of African descent who are doing great things or who are looking to go into big things, but sometimes need a little piece of inspiration or motivation, or at least listening to other people's perspectives. So without wasting too much time, today I have with me Maimouna Coulibaly, who is an associate director with Royal Bank of Canada here in Canada. Awesome, fantastic. So welcome, Maimouna, to this to Viewpoint with Kenneth Oguzie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi. Good to see you.
Yeah,
great.
Good to see you too.
Fantastic. So so it's a good time to talk to you. I think right now, especially, we just celebrated International, Women's Day, and where there was, personally, I was able to also try to promote a lot of, women, African women like yourself, who have broken all these barriers and all these boundaries, to be successful, and of course, keep aspiring for bigger things and using your story to inspire other people. So just for the interest of our audience and people here, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I was born in Côte d'Ivoire, in West Africa. My dad is from Côte d'Ivoire and my mom is from Cameroon, Central Africa.
Nice.
So I spent my early childhood in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. And after that, my family moved to Dakar in Senegal. So I have 5 sisters, no brother.
Wow.
And yeah,
Interesting.
I had a happy childhood in Dakar. I still remember these evenings when we experienced power outages. So we would turn on our emergency lamps and
Yes.
sit and listen to my mom stories about her own childhood, because she's a very good storyteller. So
nice. Nice. Interesting. And it's good you mentioned storytelling, because I tell people a lot of times, especially when I am in the midst of people who are not Africans, how much the power of stories, how we use stories to convey messages. And that's what we do here at Viewpoint as well. We want to talk about stuff, but of course also use your story as as a point of reference, or use your story as a platform to really convey the message of hope and strength and resilience. So, so right now I know you are with a major bank here in Canada, and of course the journey has not been easy, as we can tell, which is not very uncommon for as an African, as a Black woman, as an immigrant in Canada, and all of that. So what would you say has been your strategy in terms of taking you to this level and all of that?
Well, first of all, my move to Canada was not my first. It was not the first time for me to try this immigration process, because I've studied in Europe, and then from Europe I moved to Canada.
Okay.
So yes, and I have to mention that the Canadian immigration process is very transparent. So if you can read English and French, you are able to do the process by yourself. So I strongly encourage people to follow the official process. Don't try intermediaries, or follow the official process. And then I was also prepared, because I had a friend who was already in Canada with a family. So she told me, you know, she warned me about, you know, the challenges as an immigrant in Canada. So even if the program I used to come was called, you know, it's a federal skilled worker program. But
Yes.
still, you heard skill, but when you arrive here, you face the challenge of employment. You know, so I was aware of that, but of course you're never 100% ready, right?
Of
So,
course, humans.
so exactly. So my strategy was like I decided to do certifications in addition of my, you know, my education. I decided to sit for certifications, and also I was very, as you said, really, you have to be strategic. You know, I decided to not take a full-time job out of my field. And I gave myself 1 year. I say, if after 1 year it doesn't work, I will go back to Europe, because this is one of, I can call that also a privilege, because having this, you know, education from one of the best schools in France and also professional experiences in Europe, I was able to go back, but not all the immigrants will have this opportunity, you know, so I see
Absolutely.
myself as being privileged. So that's what I did, you know, and I was able to find a job, but it was not easy. It was not easy.
I mean, that's really great to hear. And I have a lot of admiration. And of course, I can relate from the perspective of a global citizen. So you have the Cameroon side, you have the Ivory Coast side, you have the France side, you have the Canada side. So that's really, really, it's like a hybrid, if I might use that word. And I feel like sometimes it really gives people some levels of perspective and understanding. So overall for you, would you say the experience of having that international sort of platform or personality has really helped you?
Yes, definitely, definitely. And I have also to mention that I have a strong support system. This is very important. Yeah, this
Very
is
important. I
very
agree.
important, you know. And I don't know if there are statistics available about that, but I am sure that, you know, mental health issues among immigrants, you know, I think it's something that we have to be aware of. So you really need a strong support system, family, trusted friends. You know, I don't know if I'm a believer, so prayers, but you need something, you know, to keep you sane, you know. And of course, you do your part, you do your work, but from time to time, you just get tired, you know, you just get tired because it looks like nothing is working. So this is where your support system, these people, you know, you can rely on, they'll be there, you know, to boost you. And when you are overwhelmed, it's okay. Stop, relax. You know, you can even step back so that you
Absolutely.
can, yeah. So this is very important. This is very important. And I think this is what I've learned from my different experiences, being a student first in France and then worker in Canada. Yes.
That's really great to hear. And I think I like the part about support systems, because I agree totally, because we can't do this all by ourselves. And as Africans, we always have that sense of communal living. Community is very big for us. So it's great to hear you talk about the fact that, you know, community is always great to provide that much needed support, especially from the mental side, and at least give you some level of stability amidst all the challenges we face. But, you know, I wanted to talk about something as well. You know, you've gone through this whole part, your education. There's a lot of emphasis on actuarial science and, you know, mathematics. The first time you told me you have a degree in maths, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I can't even solve maths to save my life. But look at you doing all this effortlessly. So how has it been for you, for especially being a woman in some of these streams that typically men dominate it? How has that experience been for you?
Well, I was raised by parents who were telling us that we could achieve everything. You know, there was no limitations for us because we were girls. But
Yeah.
I kept hearing people, you know, telling me that, oh, you cannot do mathematics. This is for boys because girls they do more things like, you know, literatures. They're more artistic. So mathematics were for boys, and then and science for boys, and then the rest for girls. But I was able to do it. I liked it, so I did it. You know, so I think this is also a mindset we need to change, you know, in our communities, that girls too can excel in mathematics and science, and there's no genetics, you know. My parents,
Absolutely.
my mom and dad, they're not good with numbers. They're not. They're not. But
Yes.
my mom, for example, she knew the importance of education, you know. So they're always being supportive. Since I was in primary school, you know, they were supportive. And until now, they're still supportive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is true. This is true. It's you know, we need to empower our girls. You know, we need to
Absolutely.
empower our girls, and you can do it.
Mm-hmm. 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 And I think it's very important because sometimes when we talk about the experiences of, our people like Africans or immigrants in diaspora, or even back home, we talk about all the challenges we face as a whole. But then there's the added piece of you face a challenge. Being a woman is different, right? And I'm sure, do you agree with me?
I
Is it
agree
an
with you.
added layer of that, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Just, deciding to study abroad,
Mm-hmm.
people will tell my parents, you're wasting your money.
Oh,
She
wow.
will be lost because she's a
Mm-hmm.
girl. She's not strong enough.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think this is, it was, I had some friends, they were not able to go abroad and study because the families were afraid. They were
Mm-hmm.
smart, but the family were afraid because they were girls. But I can tell you, I was working and studying, at the same time. you know
Mm-hmm.
I would do tutoring, I do sometimes even babysitting, and studying at the same times. you know
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, being a woman, you're black and then you're a woman, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's additional challenges, just
Mm-hmm.
because you are a woman. It's true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
also, this is another experience I want to share also.
Yes, go on.
Like I will go, to attend professional conferences. And
Yeah.
then people at the door, they see me and they will think that I am one of the waitresses. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
wrong about being a waitress, it's an honest job. But why can I only be the waitress? Because I'm a black
Absolutely.
woman? Why I
Mm-hmm.
cannot be the CEO, the CFO, the
Mm-hmm.
VP, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this is also mindset. This is something we need to change also, because we need to see more and more black women, in these, having these positions, you know
Mm-hmm.
because talents are out there. Talents are out there.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I think you make a very good point. And, the concept of intersectionality, which really looks around the fact that when you start breaking some of the social issues people face, you might have two people who they might be on the same gender, but when you start bringing in race, even things like ableism. So if you have someone who maybe has a disability, that's another layer of issues they have to deal with. So it's great to hear you talk about it and be very conscious about it, because a lot of people don't really think about it in that light. They just say, these are two women or these are two immigrant women, but there's a lot of other things which you can break down. But I think that, but let's take it back now to the motherland. And I wanted to talk about, like, touch on some of the things you talked about earlier, which is around the piece about girl child education, especially in science careers. I
Yeah.
am a strong advocate of pushing for women to go into STEM and all of these pieces, because I think, and they do excellently well, to be honest, sometimes better than the male counterparts. But sometimes there's a society that comes with, notions. I have a daughter, and I try my best all the time to ensure that my daughter and my son, they play on the same level field. I don't want, you don't, because this is where it starts, from the mindset of the
Mm-hmm.
parent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you were very fortunate that your parents really put this. So, but what were some of the things that you can think about which dad and mom really said or did that really helped you to develop this toughness that you have today, which is making you smash all these doors and, move up in your career and all of that?
Yeah. In primary school, I was
Mm-hmm.
very bad in sport. At sport, I was very, yeah. Everything else you could ask me because I was skinny. So
Yeah.
I would go home and tell my mom, no, I'm not going again. Next
Yeah.
week, no, tell them I'm sick or something. She said, no,
Yeah.
you go back.
Uh-huh.
Even if you are the last one, you
Yeah.
go and you finish
Uh-huh.
what you start.
Exactly.
So this is something, I still remember that, fast forward, I had, times in my life, because I would be very down, personal challenges, and
Yes.
And my mom will look at me. She will not tell me, oh no, you're pretty. Oh no. Yeah, she will tell me, you are brave.
Mm-hmm.
Even right now, when I'm feeling down, I remember that. My mom telling me, you are brave.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting with my dad talking about everything,
Mm-hmm.
politics, society, everything. There was no kind of taboo. We talk about everything,
Mm-hmm.
and we do it the same with among my sisters. I'm the first one to go abroad, but I'm not the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind
Okay.
of paved the way.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very important because what you experience in your childhood, and of course the people you will meet along the road, in your travels, this is what shaped your personality.
Absolutely.
This is what shaped your personality.
Mm-hmm.
You can always adjust, this is true, but I can see that I have this strength because of the way I was raised, and
Mm-hmm.
also the confidence I had, self-esteem, because be sure that when you'll be out there, people will try their best, to read,
Absolutely. To
so you
bring you
need
down and make you feel lesser than you
exactly
are. True.
exactly so you need to already have enough self-esteem to know your
Mm-hmm.
worth,
Mm-hmm.
to know your worth, so that you can go and fight now.
Mm-hmm. 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 And this thing about self-esteem is a very it's a very I wouldn't say complicated thing, but people tend to approach it differently. So some people want to align self-esteem with like your status, how much you've achieved. So for example, if I'm not becoming an associate director with RBC, then my self-esteem should be lower. Like, people, there have been issues around how people really tie self-esteem to their status or their successes in life, which I don't think should be the way. I think every human being should really aspire to, have levels of self-esteem and confidence, because most of these things we have is all social construct created by human beings to really say this person's higher than this person. But I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and that's why this is also a shift we need to have. This is something also, part of among our Black people. You look at the cars, you look at the house of the person. Oh, this person is, no, no, we have to look at people for who they are, not what they have,
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
because I was not born an associate director. And I
Mm-hmm.
won't die an associate director. It's me.
Absolutely.
It's me.
Yeah.
So if you look down upon people not having the same kind of jobs than you, or not working in the offices, then yourself, when you lose your job,
Mm-hmm.
who are you now? Because your identity is related, it's all the material stuff. No, you should see people for who they are.
Absolutely.
As I mentioned my mom before, my mom, she doesn't have a lot of schooling, but
Mm-hmm.
she's smart.
Yeah.
She's smart.
Right.
She knows how to negotiate. Go to the market. Our African market.
I know
Go,
how moms do it. Yeah.
go with her to the market. Everybody
Yeah.
knows her,
Yeah.
and she knows how to treat people,
Yeah.
She'll always treat you with dignity.
Yeah.
So this is what is something very important. Success is good. Achievement, it's good,
Mm.
but we shouldn't place, these at a higher level than the personality, values, principles.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, and I think it's part of, especially with the generations which coming after us, and some of them are young at the moment. It's always good for them to learn these lessons, understand, especially what with our elders have carried on to given us, and then we just need to pass the same ideologies or philosophy to that generation. But so now we leave the motherland, we're going across the Atlantic Ocean back to Canada now, or back. So we're stopping in Europe right now. So right now, France to Canada. And I have lived in Europe like yourself. And of course, I live in Canada now. And my experiences were quite different. So when I mean experiences, I'm just talking in terms of the way the cultures are, in terms of being able to navigate the systems, in terms of social interactions on a day-to-day basis. What are your thoughts, like living in France and then Canada? Was it really difficult to adapt? Did you did you find it challenging? Was it more like not too bad and all of that piece?
Well, people are very polite in Canada, but it's very hard for them to invite you in their home. You know, I remember in France, after work, we go and we just go for drinks or something after work. We don't drink alcohol, but still, we go out. We hang out. Out of, and it's easier. It was easier, at least for me, to see people opening their homes. Even if they will feel like, even if you say, oh, they're complaining or whatever, but still, I saw. And when I moved to Canada, when I was in the subway or in the street, people are very nice. You feel like, oh, very nice. But then to connect at a deeper level, it's hard. Deeper level. So I don't know if this is part of the culture or linked to the history. I don't know. But when I am I live in Ontario, so when I moved to Quebec, for example, I start speaking French, and all of a sudden, I feel like I am again back in France.
Yeah.
So
in France,
there's always good side and bad sides everywhere. But I think, at least in Ontario, what for me the hardest thing is connect with people at a deeper level. At a, really have these true friendships, not just being nice, being polite, but true friendships, true deep relationships.
And I think, you make a good point about sometimes, like when we talk about the fact that cultures really influence how people, behave and how all of this, and sometimes we learn. And the good thing about it is people like yourself or myself who have traveled and lived in all these places, we've built a sort of levels of resilience and understanding. I talk about how travelers or immigrants are the biggest risk takers. That's why I say every employer, if you wanted to hire someone and you want someone who will take risks, hire immigrants, because they leave everything behind. Some of them intentionally, it's not so much of they run, maybe they left from a war-torn country. They just, what, I'm ready for this. They go to a new place. The weather is different. It's extreme cold from, somewhere in sub-Saharan Africa or any other place. And all of these 4 pieces. But then they come in, and before you know it, you find them plugging into the culture, growing in their career, and they're very successful. That takes a certain level of mindset and resilience. Do you agree? Like,
I 100% agree with you, and I want to highlight. You just mentioned something. You touch a very important point. And this is one of the myths about immigrants. I really want to debunk that. Not all of us are fleeing from war or hunger or poverty. I left for the sake of knowledge. So sometimes it's hard, I know it's hard for not everybody, every immigrant story is different.
Of course.
I was happy with my family, I was happy with them. We were not rich, but I was happy with them. So sometimes people, they have this idea like, no, you decide to take risk and you go for it,
Absolutely.
I remember the first time I saw snow.
it's always very
exactly. Yeah, it's and people cannot understand that I grew up, in a tropical country, but now you have to adjust to the cold, you have to adjust to the winter, less sun, and still you are able to work, you are able to achieve your goals. So yeah, it is a mindset. It is a mindset.
And for you, it must even have been a bit easier moving from home to France and then Canada, because France, Canada, yes, the weather is much colder in Canada, but at least there's some snow and all of that. So imagine those families I have seen who come into Canada December or January of like time of the year, they've never been outside their whole lives. And, it's always interesting when I'm maybe at the airport dropping someone else and I'm watching their reactions. I'm like, wow, this is, because I remember I used to live in Sweden, and I remember the first day I got to Sweden, by the way, this was like October. So it wasn't even that bad, but the cold has started. Yes. And I remember I tell my friends this and they laugh. I remember coming out of the airport, and this thing hit me. And the first thing I said to myself was, I'm going to die. Like I'm like, there's no way I would be able to survive in this place. This is mad. Like, this makes no sense. So I was like, wow. But somehow we found ways. But just imagine the experiences of those who
Yes.
come like December to Canada, maybe minus 25. Oh my God. It's it's crazy, right?
One of the advices I give to my friends who wants to move to Canada, even from Europe, I say,
Yeah.
try to arrive, May, April,
Yes.
May, just that so you slowly switch to winter,
Yes.
slowly,
Yes.
because this is something. You're
Yes.
right.
Yes. Yes.
You're right.
Yes. I agree. I agree. Soft landing, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So there's one other thing which I wanted to. I just kind of feel like it might be good to touch on it, to hear your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about migration. What do you call? I'm trying to look for that correct word again. But anyways, basically the fact that from the homeland we are losing a lot of skilled people like yourself and myself, who typically, we're doing okay because we still stay connected back home. Like myself, I connect all these businesses back home and I still do a lot. But at the end of the day, it's still not the same as if we were living back home. What are your thoughts on this whole piece of the fact that a continent, we are losing a lot of skilled people, especially like Canada, where that Canada typically wants the most skilled people, right, to come over. And over time, we are depleting that knowledge base of people who typically should be able to, like, would help in terms of transforming the continent to the El Dorado you and I want it to be. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, this is something, I'm also thinking about myself,
Mm-hmm.
because of course I'm still connected, family,
Yeah,
friends,
I know.
and
Yes.
I have some friends, who we studied almost, we did the same studies, and then they moved back,
Mm-hmm.
Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and then they moved back again to Europe, so it's yeah, it's not an easy question. It's not an
I
easy
know,
question,
I know. It's
because
and it's yeah. Go on, my man.
yeah, you want the continent, to, raise you. We have all these ideas, but at the same time, yourself, you're outside.
Yeah,
You're outside. There are other people there. They are now trying. I see. It's moving.
yeah,
But I am outside. So
yes.
the question is, what is it better for me to go back? How should I do some knowledge transfer while staying
Mm-hmm,
here?
mm-hmm.
And we are human beings, so you're always a little bit selfish, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
no, this is a very, very difficult question.
I
And
know.
I also look back on the continent and I see that in our countries, we are still experimenting these political instabilities,
Mm-hmm.
we're still having, so this is not really encouraging. This is not really
Yes.
encouraging when you see
Mm-hmm.
that, because yes, you can be smart, you can have ideas, but if you cannot implement them,
Mm-hmm.
if the environment is not, really supportive of that, and you
Exactly.
see that you can do the same in another place, and then you have all the tools, all the, the government is encouraging you to do that, it's
Yes,
very hard. It's
I
very hard to
agree.
say, oh, I'm going to shut the door and then I go back, and then you go. I don't want to go and be sitting, laying on my parents' couch there, right?
Yes, yes,
So this is I don't have an answer for that. I really don't
yes,
have an answer for that,
yes,
but I think about that. I think about that myself.
yes. I know. And to be honest, there's no answer for that because it's something we talk about in our circles. Like,
Yes.
are we supposed to feel guilty? Are we supposed to feel guilty where we talk about the continent and we love this continent? Because I tell people the, the I don't bring viewpoint platform is not just only about Africans in diaspora or who are doing big stuff like
Mm-hmm.
yourself achieving, but also who care about the continent and who really carry the spirit of African continent everywhere they go. So, but the conundrum for us now is that, are we supposed to feel guilty where you're talking about a continent we love and you want all of this, but you're not, in the continent? But I say to people, this is my go-to in terms of when I'm posed with this
Mm-hmm.
question: contribution. comes in different forms. It's just like you have civil society when people talk about protests where, you need to, I said, no, some people can be on the street protesting. Some people's job is to be on the media doing those radio interviews. Some people's job is on social media, highlighting it. Some people's job is to provide resources for the protesters, food and water, all sorts of things. So it is the same thing I see in terms of diaspora connection and contribution back home. So you and I can probably not be right now in our various countries where we are contributing, but we are contributing other ways. This is an example. You taking an hour to talk. Our viewers here are people from across the world. That takes a lot of, sharing your story, talking about your personal story. That's a lot. I am there doing all this business connection, connecting Canadian businesses and West Africa, creating opportunities. That is impact. And you also creating an impact. That is the most important thing, which my perspective is arguable. Some people might say, no, you shouldn't. But I think at the end of the day, let's look in terms of what is the end goal or the impact which each individual is creating. As long as there's an impact, let's collectively support each other to really, do something, no matter how small it is, instead of, having the typical, oh, you should come home. You can't be in diaspora and be talking about what is going on. I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah. That's how. Yeah. No, you wanted to say something?
No. I think about that. I think about that.
Yes. That's fine. So now, like overall, I know you right now. You work with RBC and you're doing this. What's next for you? Like, so when I mean next, not necessarily your career, but I'm sure there are a lot of dreams you have, and sometimes your dreams inspire other people's dreams. And, like I tell people, how conversations you have where I thought I had a dream. I thought this is the biggest I can do. And then you walk into this room, you meet someone and this person sows a seed and you're like, wow, I never thought about there was something bigger than this dream. You know what I mean, right?
Yes.
So is there like, what dream, how have you, like, what's your position for yourself?
My experience in Canada led me actually to dream bigger.
Wow.
Yes.
That's good to hear.
Yes. Because in 2016 in France, I was awarded, it was a contest in the insurance world. So it was for best woman risk manager, and I won the audience award. And I definitely think that this recognition,
impressive,
gave me also the strength to move to Canada in 2017.
Interesting.
Because I was saying, if I am able to do this right now, I can do more.
Exactly.
Let's try.
Exactly.
And I think this was also one of the kind of, it gives me it's like you're putting gas in the engine,
Mm-hmm.
So it helped me, and then Canada, of course, struggles. And now I am, as you say, working, but then I'm like, yeah, but I was able to do this, I overcame. I can do more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's very exciting because you would think, yeah, I'm done, but no, you're not really done, You're not really done. You're like, you say, no, I can go a little bit more, try a little bit more. And this is one also of my advices right now to the viewers. Don't stop dreaming,
True.
Don't let your circumstances kill your dreams.
Wow.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. Sometimes when you become an immigrant, sometimes you lose your focus. You're dealing with day-to-day issues. Making a life, and you lose your focus. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't lose your focus. And actually, I realize that I'm dreaming bigger and bigger. Dreaming bigger and bigger. So my next step, well, wait and see. But yeah,
it's coming.
I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped. Yes, I haven't stopped.
I agree. And you make a good point around, don't let your present circumstance like kill your dream and all of that, because and I'm sure you can relate to this. I remember I used to live in Malaysia a long time ago, and I remember the first time I moved from there to Sweden, and I got there and I met a lot of members of the African diaspora, and we're talking, and people were talking about the experience and how it's been tough for them. I was just laughing. The reason why I was laughing was sometimes if you've not been at the back of the kitchen, then that's it. The only way you would appreciate the living room is when you come out from the kitchen, then you then appreciate the living room. So I was laughing because all I saw was more opportunities. But they felt at that point that there was nothing for them because there's nothing to benchmark. You know what I mean? So I think to an extent, I also felt the same way coming to Canada from here. Like I lived in the UK before I moved here. And personally, I felt like I had more opportunities living in Canada. I came here into 3-4 years. I set up my own business and, it's going well. And the sky is my limit. I look at every day and I'm like, wow, there's so much to be achieved out here. You know what I'm saying? But I think some of it also came from over the years of having migrated to different places and built up that sort of toughness. All you see is opportunities because that's the way the human mind works, right? Sometimes the moment you unlock something in you, all you see is opportunities. Everyone's like, there's nothing going on here. And you're like, you guys don't have a clue.
Yes.
Did you feel the same way?
Yes, and hope. Hope is very, very important. I talk sometimes with immigrants, just the person, the way they are expressing themselves or they're expressing their struggles, you feel like they have lost hope. And for me, this is very important. When you need hope to make this next step, you don't know, maybe it's this next, resume you will send, and the door will be open. I don't know, this next exam you will pass, this next move, there's always the next step. But when you have lost hope, you won't make this step. You won't make this step. So opportunities are there, but you need to believe that you are able. Hope is very important.
It is. I agree. You could have said it better, like in terms of, hope and believing in yourself and continue, pushing and, not giving up on your dream. But do you find that in our community, like the African diaspora, do you find that a lot of people, especially some of those who've probably not broken into their careers and all of that, do you think is an issue a lot, like in terms of people a lot of people seem to be giving up, like they're like, you know what, this is not happening. Because the tricky thing with giving up sometimes is that at what stage can we say, oh, you know what, your situation is bad, there's nothing can happen? Like how, because that's a very, very difficult stage. But then on the other hand too, sometimes people just need something to be unlocked in them to see that maybe I might need to do some personal development myself to get me in a better state. And it's not the environment that is suppressing me. Have you come across that sort of situation before?
Yes, and I mentioned that already before. The mindset is very, if you think you can, or if you think you cannot, you're right. Both cases, you are right, know. Of course, you can have a more environment can be more on or less favorable. I agree with that. We shouldn't, we shouldn't deny that. But you need to acknowledge, okay, your current situation, true, your pain, everything, acknowledge it. But then you don't stay with that, And then when you ask the person, how was life, how is your life, or how was your life in this or this country? All the person can tell you is the bad things that happened to them. That's all they can tell you. You're like, yeah, but wait a minute. I think at least something good also happened. But no, the mind was broken.
Yes.
So this is very important. You acknowledge what happened to you. Yeah, it's true. You face unfairness. It's true. You face, racism. It's true, But don't stay there. Don't stay there. You have to move your mind, as you say, unlock your mind, and this is very important. I know the community, because we are community sometimes, the way you were listening to other people and their stories will make you laugh. Some get discouraged by these stories, they get discouraged because they're like, if these guys have been there for 5, 10 years, and this is what they're saying, I'm not gonna make it, and this is it. No, 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 no. We should acknowledge the reality, and things are changing also. Because of people like you and me, things are changing. I don't know how it was for immigrants 5, 10 years, back, but I know that things are changing. Things are moving in the right direction. So this is the time, and especially right now with this pandemic, all these, a lot of non-skilled jobs, are lost. So maybe it's the time for you as an immigrant. Yeah, you came and then you got stuck in this, area, but it was not the reason why you you came to Canada. You came for better. So right now, maybe it's a time to, as I say, you acknowledge, what happened to you. Yes, you're facing pain, uncertainties, but don't stay there. Don't stay there. Try to see the opportunities. How can I move forward?
True.
How can I, do something better than what I was doing before? So yeah, and I have also accepted to do this interview because I know that right now we're living in very troubled times.
I agree.
Very troubled
I
times.
agree.
So being an immigrant, even for Canadian, it is hard. But
Yes.
being an immigrant right now, it's very, very hard because you were already dealing with uncertainties, but now additional are coming in.
Absolutely. So it's another layer of challenges of barriers.
Exactly.
But then we also have the advantage of being tough. We are tough. We are risk takers. So we find ways amidst all these adversities to still keep our head afloat. And it's honestly, I tell someone like I love. Most people talk about the fact that, oh, I wish I wasn't an immigrant. I'm like, I actually love the fact because I feel like what I have in me, it's the fire. It's way intense, more than like, maybe the locals or something. That's how I see it. So, and you also a demonstration to that fact. You and like, it's the same thing. All these experiences you've had, that's pretty much one of the main reasons that's helped you navigate your career and why you are now at the other side where you are encouraging people and talking to people, all this community work you do, right?
Yes, and you said something, we are tough, but we also have to acknowledge that we are not always tough.
Yes.
So
true.
If you feel weak, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay to get tired sometimes. It's okay, to want to give up, but don't. You fall, but you have to stand up again,
Yes, and try again.
And try again, exactly.
Yes, yes, I agree. So as we round up with like coming to the end of the chat, one of the things we do in Viewpoint really is that we talk about stories of Africans in diaspora, Africans in the homeland, and persons of African descent who identify with the African spirit. But everything we try to highlight is from a positivity standpoint, because I feel like, yes, there's a lot going on in the negativities, but we have to be positive and we have to use this positivity to stir up the spirits, which is existing in a lot of people who are really down at the moment. So if you were to like put out an advice there for both, the women, girls, especially in the homeland, and of course here, who are trying to navigate their ways in some of these male-dominated careers like yourself, or even who have not even gotten in, who, maybe they are at the point where they've not made a decision in terms of where they want to go, but their mind is blocked only for A, B, and C, because that's what every woman seems to be doing. What would that be? What would you be saying to them?
I like a quote from, her name is Marie Curie. She was a chemist.
Yeah, yes, I know her.
She was also a woman, immigrant, but she became the first woman to be a teacher in the Sorbonne, that was something. Yeah. The first also woman to win a Nobel Prize. And she said that life is not easy for any of us. But what of that? We must have perseverance and above all, confidence in ourselves.
Wow.
We must believe that there is something, we need to attain at any cost. We are there because we have something to attain, a purpose. So you need to find this purpose. You need to find, this thing that makes you really be you. And for girls, don't listen to, people trying to discourage you, people trying to tell you that you won't achieve this and that just because you are a woman. No, no, no. Acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses,
True.
and look at the world. There's so, as you said, opportunities are there. Opportunities are there. And it doesn't mean that it will be easy. No, no, I'm not telling you that it will be easy. No. Maybe you'll be the pioneer, in your specific field, in your family, in your community. But because of you, someone else will look and say, hey, wait a minute, she did it. That means my daughter can do it. I can do it myself. And this is how we will reverse, the trend. This is how we will see more and more women out there, being successful. Women, they have always been there, but they were not seen. Now we are speaking for ourselves, we want to be noticed too. We want to be noticed. And no matter where you are right now, because don't think that, yeah, you're saying that because you are, in the Western world, you're not in Africa, you don't. No, 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 no. I have sisters also still back home, and I know the reality is there, but don't focus on the problems, focus on the solutions. And it is possible. Connect with people. It's good to study. That's something also, we study, yeah, but don't just study. Do networking.
Yeah.
Connect to associations. You want to be an actuary? Go online, be an actuary.org, societyofactuaries.org. There are association, International Association of Black Actuaries. For French speakers, we have the Association des Actuaires Africains. Connect with people so that you can also learn from their experiences, and actually, okay, I need to do these exams, I need to use this road and this, because yes, you can have the knowledge, but if you don't know how to use this knowledge, this is an inconvenience for you. It's not helping you. So study, do networking, do your homework. Yeah, that's how I say it. Do your homework.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, great, but don't stay just dreaming about it, act.
Wow. Wow, I think that really hit the nail on the head. This is like valuable advice, and I'm sure a lot of viewers out there, must have really benefited from these insights you provided. And it's awesome when you hear these insights, not from people who have masters or PhDs or whatever in motivational speaking. You are talking from experience. Yeah. You have been there, done that, and still doing that. That is amazing. So to be honest, I really appreciate the time you took to, be on the, on the platform today. And I'm really hopeful that your story would, inspire a lot of other young women, young girls who are like motivated, or who are not sure what next to do, or who really need that sort of spark in them. So, thank you so much for, coming here. And hopefully, in future, we would, pretty much bring you back again at one point to hear what's going on with you and what's the next big thing you are up to, because I'm sure you are going to be up to bigger stuff. I can tell you have the right mindset and attitude. So, the sky is your limit, like you say.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. It's my first time to be, out there talking about myself, so.
I appreciate it. I feel honored.
I really hope that, somebody will listen and, get it, have this, this fire, again, back again, they will have this hope, yes. And yeah, it's possible. It is possible. It's not necessary. It is possible, It is not easy, but it is possible. So do it.
Fantastic. So viewers, we've been talking to Maimouna Coulibaly, who is an Associate Director with the Royal Bank of Canada, here in Canada, one of the largest banks. And we've just listened to her story and all the amazing stuff she's doing and all her accomplishments. So I hope this has really inspired a lot of you. And, this is what we do here at Viewpoint: celebrate Africans, Black excellence, Africans in diaspora, Africans in the homeland, and of course, persons of African descent who are looking to, who are doing big stuff and telling their stories. So keep an eye on more of this information. And if you have any comments or perspective, feel free to leave it in the comment section. Don't forget to follow us on all the media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, our YouTube channel. It's Kenneth Oguzie, Oguzie. And I'm looking forward to the next edition of Viewpoints with Kenneth Oguzie, where we'll bring someone else to talk about their stories. Thank you so much, and then enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.